This not my kingdom, boy. This not my kingdom, boy. I'm aiming at demons, boy. I do not see these boys. They're living for Lincolns, they money dry up and start shrinking. My team full of lions to find. Come to your city and spark up a ride. Eating these beats like I'm needing a diet. Shout out to Disky and shout out to Tyus. Yeah, we gotta go, we gotta go. Taking the message from coast to the coast. My trust in the kingdom, my hope in the most.
What's good, NMKBH Nation, man? Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of NMKBH Talk. Man, this talk right here wraps up our faith segment. We're ready to hop right in. Today's passage comes from Galatians 2, verses 19 through 21. We're reading the Message version, and it reads, "What actually took place is this. I tried keeping rules and working my head off to please God, and it didn't work. So I quit being a lawman so that I could be God's man. Christ's life showed me how and enabled me to do it. I identified myself completely with him. Indeed, I've been crucified with Christ. My ego is no longer central. It is no longer important that I appear righteous before you or have your good opinion, and I am no longer driven to impress God. Christ lives in me. The life you see me living is not mine, but it is lived by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. I am not going to go back on that. Is it not clear to you that to go back to that old rule-keeping, peer-pleasing religion would be an abandonment of everything personal and free in my relationship with God? I refuse to do that, to repudiate God's grace. If a living relationship with God could come by rule-keeping, then Christ died unnecessarily."
Whoa.
Bruh,
Whoa.
I'm telling you, that first piece for me is I quit being a lawman so that I could be God's man, bro. Like,
I like that. I ain't never read this version of Message. Is that what that is, the Message?
Message.
Yeah, I like the way he learned it. I quit being a lawman and became a God's man. I like that.
And I mean, it's something you can see in our lives all the time because we keep on, we keep telling ourselves, we're not doing this, we're not doing this, we're not doing this. Yeah. We tell ourselves that we're going to cut sin out of our life. But God,
that's the wrong route.
God is the only one, man. So we have to quit trying to be lawmen, law women, so that we can be God's men, God's women. You feel me, bro? Like
God's man. And that trying to, like you said, trying to cut off ourselves, man, that's the wrong route. It's not like it says down here at the bottom, man. If living in a relationship with God could come by rule keeping, and Christ died unnecessarily. So I mean, if we could do it that way, I mean, then Christ died for no reason. But he died because we can't do it that way. It's impossible. It's not going to work that way.
And I guarantee you, none of us would say that Christ did die necessarily. But if you look at the way we live like he did, because we do try to keep every single rule, regardless if you like it. It's so frustrating too because, man, we can't do it that way. The only way we can do it is what Paul said. We got to die and put our life completely with Christ. Christ showed us how. Christ's ministry wasn't walking around thinking of the stuff he couldn't do. It was doing things that God told him to do, bro. So keep doing, like, if you constantly be with God, he's going to use you, and he's the one that fixes your heart. He's the one that cuts out everything that's holding you back in your life when you truly dedicate to being his man. When you're 100% in, when you have that faith in him the whole way, bro.
That's that freedom, man. The freedom from that bondage, man. That's the route that we always talk about. It is that you get close to God and then that stuff fall off, instead of the way that we try to do it is trying to cut that stuff off so we can get closer to God.
And the crazy thing is when you really sit down and think about it, I feel like we're making the decision based on what we think is stronger. Do we think God is stronger or the sin is stronger? Because the way we act is that we got to cut the sin off because God can't use us when we're not perfect. But God's way stronger than the sin. God can break that. So when we still stay in him, He's like, oh yeah, I cut all that off. Now I see that you really in with me. I see that you really loving me. I see that you really trying to get right. You really trying to study me. Let me go on and cut that off, man. That's how it is. I feel like we think that like the sin is bigger than God, and we gotta cut that out before he's willing to love us and willing to use us and willing to do all this. But the moment we realize, no, God is way bigger than all of that sin in our lives, when we just focus on Him and we put our faith in Him, He's going to cut that stuff off so we can be freer in the relationship with Him, you know?
Man, the irony is we think that we have to cut the sin off to get close to Christ, but there's no way we can cut the sin off unless we're already close to Christ.
Man.
Because we can't do it. We cannot do it ourselves. Like, we don't have the power to do that.
Man, I don't know why we have this so messed up and why we make it so hard. I know I'm talking about myself. I ain't talking about the general public.
Oh, yeah.
Myself, bro. Like, I stay trying to tell myself I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, and then whenever I do it, I don't want to read. I don't want to. On a good day, if I'm out there doing, I talk to a youth group, or I go to a sermon that's nice. That next couple of days, I'm in my quiet time for 3 hours. But let me slip up one day. Now God's lucky if He gets 15 minutes out of me, because I'm trying to avoid and all that. But it's like, why would I do that? He's the one that can heal me. He's the one that can cut all that stuff out of it. So why I gotta fix that to where it's the consistent, man.
Man, and it's crazy. We try to work for a gift that was already given to us.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
We try to work for a gift that was already free handed to us when He got on that cross. And like I said on here, when we tried to get back into that rule keeping, into that pure pleasure pleasing religion, and it would abandon everything personal and free in the relationship. So we're trying to get away from it. It's like someone trying to give you a pair of shoes, and you're like, here, take some money for it. And you're like, nah, here, I gave it to you already here. And you try to give them money for it. It's like, man, already free. All you have to do is accept it, man.
And why is it so hard for us just to accept it? It's a gift. Like, we all love gifts. Like, that no one would ever do.
I love gifts.
Love them.
I love free.
But God's trying to give us the ultimate free gift, and we're over here like, I don't know. Like, no, accept it just like you'd accept a free Apple Watch. Like, come on, man.
Man, just accept it, man. Man, this part in the scripture, man, we gotta hit, because you read it and it really just threw me for a whole loop when He said, what'd He say? Where's it at? And I'm no longer driven to impress God.
Yes, sir.
I'm like, whoa.
That's a powerful statement, man. I am no longer driven to impress God.
That one makes you think hard. Like, man.
That makes you think, what are you doing the stuff you do for? What are you doing the stuff you do for? Is it you? Is Christ living in you, and that's your life, and He's changed you? Or are you doing all this stuff because you want to look? Man, come on.
You want to pat on the back, man.
Man, come on.
What is our reason? Are we doing this just so we can get things in return, so we get that pat on the back, so we can look like the perfect Christian, or are we actually living the life for Christ because your life is no longer yours?
Man, we just talked about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we did the whole love segment, and it was and at the end of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, I believe it says, and love is the greatest of these. So when you're doing all the things that you're doing, is it really filled with love? Are we really loving the poor people we're helping, the homeless people we're helping, the everybody that we're doing things for? Are we really loving these people, or is it just God, you see that? You see what I see?
Yeah.
Man, we don't think of it like that, but man, Paul did not play with these 3 verses, man. He came out.
I love Paul. He always come raw. He come raw every rip.
Man, because like when you read that whole sentence, like you expect the first part, I'm no longer important that I appear righteous before you or have your good opinion. Like, yeah, I understand that. I'm not trying to look good to people no more. But he didn't end it there. To end it really with and I am no longer driven to impress God. Christ lives in me. Christ lives in me.
Man,
That is powerful.
It's truly killing yourself, man. Truly doing away with your old life and living with letting Christ live through you.
And man, that's hard to do. That's hard to do. That's why when we struggle, we have to jump into the Bible even more instead of fleeing. Because when you're trying to cut stuff out and you're doing good, and then you have a stumbling block. If you get away from the Bible, you're just gonna continue to fall more. You got to dive in so He can heal you, so He can save you, because He's the ultimate Savior. He's the ultimate healer. We can't do this on our own. We need Him. How can Christ live in us if we don't study His Word and know who He is?
Man, facts.
Man, these 3 verses, man, they.
I love it, man.
Love it all around, man.
Man, I'm gonna have to stay in this one for a minute, man, because
stay in this one.
This was hitting me.
Might be the screen.
This was hitting me. This was hitting me hard right now. This was definitely hitting me hard.
Well, T, you got some last remarks you want to hit on before we ask them the challenge for the week?
Oh no, man, I'm good right now. God, go ahead.
I bet the challenge this week is to just to be real with yourself. Are you living as a law man, a law woman, or are you living as a God man, God's woman? I can tell you, shoot, man, my life, you see it, I be trying to live as a law man. I be trying to cut stuff out on my own. I can't do that. I got to become God's man. I got to be at His feet 24/7, asking Him, yo, take this out of me so that I can be closer and grow closer and closer to you, and you can do more things through me, and I can love people the way I'm supposed to love. Christ can live in me the way He's supposed to. Like, man, it's a constant thing, because it's tough not being a law man.
It really is, man. And one thing also we have to do also on top of that, in order to let Christ live fully through you, sometimes we got to drop some things that we hold on in our own life. I heard a message the other day. It said God's not going to compete with you.
Ooh.
He's not going to compete with you. So who are you going to live for? You going to live for yourself? Or you going to live for God?
That's good, my brother. That's dope. NMKBH, that's another episode. We love you guys, and we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a great week. NMKBH, out.